Welcome to Tuesday here on, as we get closer to Halloween on the Rick Corey Sports Special. We have our decorations up, and you had a pretty scary night, didn't you, Antonio Graham? You guys snuck by Santa Fe. You know, now in the last 2 years, the two classic games you have played, it's 88 to 80 total score in those 2 years. What a set of games, eh?
Yes, it has been. It's been good. They're a good football team, man, and got great players as well. And so I'm glad we were able to pull that out.
It was tight. I'll tell you that. This is, of course, sponsored by Tulsa Accident Care Center with a grand opening in Owasso. I'll tell you about in a moment. Now, when I was watching the score of this one from our game, I was a little shocked. I thought they actually kind of had it wrong. Walk us through how that first half went.
Well, the biggest thing is we got prepared for a lot of their sets, and in pregame we looked down there, we noticed that their quarterback was out, and so he was in the sling, and we had to prepare and make adjustments with their Wildcat set. They put that unbelievable tailback at quarterback, and they did the right thing to put the ball in their best player's hands, and he made some plays, and we had to adjust and just kind of face some adversity, Rick, which I think was good for us. It's been a while since we faced adversity, and it was good to see how our kids handle that. And it was a good experience for us as well.
Demarius Robinson's the guy that he's talking about, the quarterback, 4 touchdowns, 181 yards. He's an Arizona State commit, normally plays tailback and a little receiver. Explain why, when you're in a Wildcat like that, why it is so difficult defensively to make that adjustment.
Well, the biggest thing is you got to be careful because you also got to protect the pass as well. And with that guy in the ball with the ball in his hands, and they also put another good tailback right beside him. And so our kids just had to get used to, just keying on him like, fellas, he ain't handing that ball off. They kind of run a little power read stretch action. And I was like, fellas, he ain't running you got to take good angles. Like we have the perfect angles or whatever that we usually make on the kid and he just cut it across our face. And so the biggest thing is we just had to do a better job tackling, and you got to press the line of scrimmage with that kid. If you get him any space, it's it's touchdown. And so I told that kid last year that he was one of the best players in the state by far, and I told him that again. And that kid put his team on his back, and that coaching staff should be very proud of him that what
Yeah,
he
you're
did.
going to face another guy this week who'll do the same thing, and we'll get to him in a minute. 31-27, by the way, was the final in this game. Jaden Hall was great for you, 133 and 3 touchdowns, but your quarterback, once again, really good. Faris was really good again. Your running game hung in there. I talk about this when we're playing Army or Navy, and I say we, University of Tulsa. You can't adjust to that. You can practice it against it. It's game speed. It's different. When did you feel like your team caught up to the difference in that Wildcat set?
I was at a halftime a little bit. I kind of set him down. And I just told him, relax, man. Like you guys are dealing with some adversity right now, and so come out and show me you guys can handle it and how you can overcome it. The good thing is, Rick, that I never saw our kids bicker at each other. I never saw them arguing or anything. I was like just one play at a time, and I think our kids realize. I've been telling them all year, you're going to get everybody best shot. And it doesn't matter. I heard Josh Blankenship say this last week. I told them on Wednesday after I watched Josh's radio show with you, are you going to prepare the same way you prepared for the Bisbee, the Jeans, the Union? And so I said, I guarantee you, some of you guys didn't. You guys looked at their record, and I told you guys all week that this is going to be the best 1-17 you guys are going to play all year.
Yep.
They have a great defensive coaching staff on their team. Chris Rhodes, he's their defensive coordinator. He recruited me when I was in high school. And Dale Patterson, he's their safeties coach. And I think he's a legendary coach that was an NEO whenever they recruited the big tight end down there that went to Miami. Golly, I'm trying to think of his name. But he's a stud. They recruited some studs down there, man. And so NEO is rolling. And so they got a very good defensive, team and a good defensive staff. And so it took a while for our old line to kind of get used to that as well. And so that second half, they came out with a better attitude. They came out with a fire. Our O line was screaming at our freaking OC on the sideline, run the freaking ball. And I was like, run the ball. And so you kind of saw that momentum kind of shift towards our way. And I just said, guys, you can't wait. you know. And I said, this is a learning lesson for you guys. I hate that you guys got to go through this, but you know, in a way, Rick, to be honest with you, I was kind of happy that we
Mhm.
went through it or whatever. And so it was a blessing in disguise. You know, I definitely take any, ugly win over a bad loss at all times. And so it was a good learning experience for him. So our kids, they had a great workout on Sunday with a lot of energy. And I just said, you just can't wait to get hit in the mouth because that would get you beat, you
Yeah.
know. And so it was good for us to have that close game and a big game like that. And Santa Fe always plays us hard. They're well coached and I told these guys it's almost the end of the season, fellas. And you're going to get some teams are not going to make the playoffs. They're trying to make the playoffs. These two last games, they count more than anything. So you about to see different teams on film than you evaluate. You say, hey, on film, that guy don't have that effort. Well, this may be that senior last game, and he's going to come out with a whole totally different effort. And so you just better get ready for a different type of effort and different attitudes with these teams.
Isn't it great though when you talk with your O line yelling from the side from the field? And to be clear for those watching, they're not being disrespectful. They're just saying we're on a roll. We want to
Mhm.
run the ball. But that's when the team becomes player led, and that's what you're looking for, isn't it?
Absolutely. The great teams, Rick, they're led by the players. They're not led by the coaches. They take on the coach's leadership, but whenever you get kids to step up their own and coming to you, like, hey, coach, we need to do this and do this. I think this is the right way we can attack things. Those are the best teams. You ever go back and you look at the good Jinx and Union teams, those are all led by players. And that's what you like to see as a coach.
Absolutely. Plus, when you're talking about those teams at the end of the year, some of them know, like you said, they're not going to make the playoffs. These are the last, one or two games. And
Mhm.
those guys are trying to put film on, they put something on tape to show a recruiter. And we think
Absolutely.
sometimes about nothing but D1. I was talking to Lauren Montgomery about this yesterday. It's great when guys go D1. Love that when guys do that. Cole Adams in Alabama, you name it, whatever.
Mhm.
But all these kids, if they're playing at Lindenwood, that's a big deal. If they can play anywhere and they just want film, and if they can get that film against Owasso, all the better for them too, right?
Absolutely. There's no doubt because if I'm a defensive end and I'm going against Blake Cherry and Riker Half and that good offensive line and I have a good game, that's going to raise recruiters' attention. And I said, I always tell kids, hey, guys, that's on film that you're going to be on their Twitter, you're going to be on their highlight tapes. And so how are you going to respond? And also, whenever you have games like this, when you don't tackle well, and if I'm Norman North, you give other teams confidence. So you better come out and practice with a different attitude, and you better be able to make those corrections moving forward, And Rick, human nature, those are, I think my kids, they don't want to have that feeling or whatever. It's like yesterday I had to get on to them. I was like, guys, y'all act like y'all lost that game. Winning is hard. It's so hard. And you guys don't take winning for granted. It's very hard to win and everybody wants your best shot. So enjoy that win, snap out, loosen up, and let's have fun. And let's get this practice going. And so I had to kind of give them a good reality check yesterday that winning is not easy at all. It's very hard, and people are putting the same work as you in, and so their coaches are motivating them like I motivate you guys. And so it's a hard thing to do. And so don't ever be down about you losing a game. And so I think they kind of got my point across with them yesterday.
The late great Larry Agee always said, celebrate every victory. They are
There's
not
no
easy
doubt.
to come by. We're listening, of course, to Antonio Graham, and this is sponsored by Tulsa Accident Care Center. Yeah, I want to remind you that they are having their grand opening in Owasso. It's just off 169 and 76th Street North. And I've told you before, as you can see the Tulsa Accident Care Center car right here, the best thing about them is having everything in one place. I had to take Lindsay yesterday. I took Lindsay yesterday to her neuro-ophthalmologist appointment in Oklahoma City. And then there's a doctor here that's an endocrinologist. We also have a doctor here who's an oncologist. And then we have a regular, you see what I'm getting at? If you ever injured in an auto accident or really for any other injury, you can get same day appointments with no out of pocket costs. You can get individualized treatment plans, a licensed physician, CT, MRI, X ray, ultrasound, and physical therapy and medications available in one place. That's what Tulsa Accident Care Center are about. By the way, I know the guys who run this place, and I've known them for years and didn't even know it was them. As a matter of fact, he works in the press box, and he and I were visiting a couple of weeks ago. I'll tell you more about them a little later, but I just want you to know that Tulsa Accident Care Center is sponsoring not only Antonio, but Josh Blankenship tomorrow as well. And they were just having that grand opening in BA at Kenosha in 51 and in Owasso at 169 76th Street North, TulsaAccidentCareCenter.com. All right. So, one thing before we leave this game and move on to Norman North, yeah, you talked about how it really can make you better, and I agree. Good, hard games late are good for you. But what were your biggest teachable moments yesterday, other than getting them out of the funk?
The biggest thing is that the drills that we do in practice, how important they are, and you just don't go in emotions with those. We have done a really good job of ball security, and we had a couple of those put on the ground the other day, and I just like, and also, every week we work onside kicks every week, and it's something. And sometimes people like, coach, like, are we really going to be able to use it? I'm like, but you never know. And I just said, see, guys, the stuff that we do in practice, it came to life on the football field.
Yep.
You feel onside kicks every week because you just never know what kind of game it may be, who may get injured. And so it came down to an onside kick game. And I was just like, guys, it's just like we practice every week. We practice onside kicks. Like today, that's what we're going to do in practice on Tuesday. We usually kick about 10 to 20 of them at our hands teams. And it came down to it. So the importance of things that we practice and the situations finally came to life. The 2 minute no, trying to score before halftime and things like that. It all come to life. So they're starting to see the big picture of things now. And I'm glad that some of these scenarios are actually happening so they can see how the importance of it. Because, sometimes kids just think that Coach Graham is just throwing this on the practice script just to be practicing it sometimes. Are we just trying to have a 24 period practice just because? No, these situations happens. And so the biggest thing is that just like things that we do in practice finally came to life or whatever.
Yeah, now you're going to face a Norman North team that you talked about, a guy who'll put a team on his shoulder, Owen Eshelman, who did that against Union a few weeks ago. And I watched. I mean, the kid just wills his team on. They've got some very talented defensive players. And again, I don't remember the kid's the name, but number 0 in defense. That
Hmm.
defensive end's a man. So you're
Hmm.
looking at another team without a lot of wins, but they are truly dangerous, and you have to go there. So is
Hmm.
that message a little easier this week after last week?
Oh, there's no doubt. And also, like I always tell our guys, when we go to the West Side, you're 14 points down.
Yeah.
You gotta be able to get off a long bus drive. And Norman North is a unique place. They're visitor side. Their track around the field,
Yeah.
you're almost 50 yards away from the stands. And so we got to be able to create our own energy. We got to bring energy. It's in a neighborhood with houses behind you. So it's a different, unique place that you got to play in. The field is not, the field is it's just the lights are darker there.
Hmm.
It's a unique place, man. And so I'm just telling our kids, you can't come out on the field, waiting to play until the second half because you find yourself in another dogfight. And these guys are on a 2-win game streak right now. They beat UConn, they beat Broken Arrow,
Hmm.
and so they're kind of coming in with a little bit momentum on their side and as well. And so it's going to be their homecoming. So they're going to have a lot more juice to them than usual. And so this is a big game for them. They got one more game after this, Rick. And so right now, for a lot of these teams, it's do or die. I told our teams we don't have anything sold up yet. We're not looking forward to the playoffs. We were just worried about right now. The only thing that's the only thing that we're worried about is Norman North. We're not worried about a first round bye. We're not worried about no district championship, no nothing. We just go 1-0 every day until Friday, and we want to go 1-0 then. And so the biggest thing is going out there and get started fast and try to get them guys on the ropes. But they got some unbelievable football players, like you said. Number 0, he's a problem on the D line, and that receiver, he's special as
Hmm.
well. I'm kind of tired of him, just like I am tired of Brian Roberts. I'm like, golly, when you guys going to graduate? And
Yep.
so they find ways to give that guy the ball. They put him in at Wildcat. They put him in the backfield. They move him around all plays, and they're doing the right thing with what they got. And so I'm looking forward to see how we respond this week.
They are pesky. There's no question. When you see them on film and you watch Eshelman, how would you describe him? To me, he's just this gritty dude, and he's a way better runner than people will think.
I think he's very fluent. He's very athletic. He's the guy that brings the energy to the team. Whenever he makes a big play, he's going to celebrate. He's going to get guys rolling. I see they like to try to get him the ball early to get him going, whether it's a jet sweep or a little screen pass into the boundary, just to get him rolling. And so we gotta know where that guy's at all times. And even in the kicking game, we got to. You definitely don't want to kick the ball to him or anything because, like you say, his speed is very deceiving. He's not like the quick burst guy. He just seems like he just gains speeds like a deer, and so got unbelievable hands. Alabama recruiting that kid for a reason. You know. And so I'm pretty impressed by him as well.
I would think so. Here we are toward the end of the season. You mentioned playoffs coming up, and you got to keep kids focused on. Look, we have been playing all year for Week 11, but we
Hmm.
can't think yet about Week 11. How do you do that? How do you peak at the right moment?
I think you just kind of showed them examples of what happened last week for once. When you start looking ahead, you find yourself in dogfights or whatever. And the biggest thing is it starts with us coaches on the coaching staff. I kind of told them in our Sunday meeting, make sure you're kind of really evaluating our players right now and make sure that you're not seeing the kids making the same mistakes that they was making in week 0, week 1. We want to continue to improve, improve, improve. And so I kind of just challenging everybody, just like, hey, guys, if you're still missing tackles right now, we gotta have to find the best 11 to get on the football field. And so I'm kind of putting a little bit of pressure on our guys right now, and also making sure they're taking care of their bodies as well is a big deal. And they got to stay in the schoolwork as well because we need everybody on Friday night, to be a part of these games for so us we can win. Whatever you're injured, we got to make sure we get guys healed up and their body's feeling good and just been focused is the biggest thing and continue to prepare as well.
Everybody's dinged up right now. Otherwise, other than those little kind of things, how are your guys?
We're doing pretty well, man. We're a little bit banged up a little bit, but nothing too crazy at all. We're gonna have everybody back, and we just got to continue to just get locked in and be able to face. You're gonna also we're gonna expect adversity this game, and so we got to be able to overcome it. And so just kind of taking one day at a time, Rick.
Absolutely. Well, you heard Antonio say he actually watches our videos. You can too. Remember to like and subscribe to this as well. Good luck. Keep everybody focused. And oh man, I hate that trip down there. Thank God for the Kickapoo Turnpike. Good luck on the trip, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you very much, Rick.